Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about how to extract a unique list from two columns that are not next to each other. This is very useful when we are creating the bank's list of our DIY accounting system. The basic idea is to recognize the cell pattern and then use the indirect formula to retrieve individual bank names. So, let's dive in.
Create a set of helper columns. Column I just call it choose column 2. It's table 2. So the choose column and then just call it row so that I can follow the pattern like you see here. F6, I6, F7, I7, and so on. Okay. Column, row, and then the text. Just highlight that. And since I have 8 counts, because I have 4 payment bank and 4 receiving banks, so I have a total of 8 counts, right? So that's why I create this cell, need count 8. So the count is simply counting the non-blanks of these two columns. So you see me naming these columns already. Okay. So let me just make it a little bit bigger. Control T to create a table from this range. My table has headers. Okay. My formula is to create like 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So that I can choose these numbers. Oh, how come? Oh, I'm going to name this cell Q16, which is the first cell, right? I will name 2 of these. I just name it as row. Okay, let me just do this. Control F3 to create a name. So I'm going to set it to this one. So you can simply just select the cell. I will select this cell and keep the $sign just to keep it. So when I refer to first cell, it's going to refer to Q16, right? And it's locked. Okay, and let me create another one. So I just call this one first row cell, which is going to be referring to the same Q16. But instead of keeping the $sign, I just get rid of the $sign. All right. So the first cell is 16, which is locked. And the first row cell is also Q16, but it's not locked. All right. If I do rows bracket first cell colon first row cell and close the bracket, then I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if I add a mod of this one, so when you see the number is the rows, right? So if I divide by 2, okay, so let me just call it the increment. So let's see what we get. So we will get 1, 0, 1, 0, right? And the simplest way to make it 1, 2 is just to add 1. Then we will have 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So we can simply copy that, Control X, and then we use the if the rows of the first cell colon to the first row cell, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Is less than or equal to the need count, which is this one. So you see it here. Then I will have the number like Enter and then Control V. I will apply. Yeah, and then I will apply the mod formula here, comma. Otherwise, Enter. I'll just return a dash sign and then close the bracket. So we will have 1, 2, 1, 2 here, right? So now we can use this 1, 2 pattern to choose the column of either the payment bank or the receiving bank, right? So in order to do this, I just use choose and then add the choose column, which is this one. If it is 1, then I will choose the payment column, which is this one. And the value 2 is when the value equals 2, I will choose this column. So you will have FI something, right? But you have an error message here. How I select this is Shift N and then select the whole formula and then press X just to cut it. And if error of the value, which is Control V, which is the formula that we just did, comma, otherwise, if it returns an error, Alt Enter, I will just return a dash. All right, and then close the bracket. Then you will have FI like this. So now we move on to the rows column that we need to return this one, right? The first row, which is 6, we have to repeat 6 for 2 times, and then 7, and then 8, right? Just like this one, 6, 8. For cell S16, we just do rows, and then first cell, colon, first row cell. So we also have this pattern, right? Run all the 1 all the way down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Then we can just divide this one by the increment. Then we will have 0.5, 1, 1.5, right? If I round this up, I have to specify the digit, sorry, comma. The num digit should be 0. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In order to make it row 6, which is the first row of our payment bank and receiving bank, right? So we can simply minus 1 for the whole row. Then we start from 0, right? And then we add back the first row of 6. You can name this. Okay, let me just name this. Control F3. So I just name. You can either name it or you just hard code it as hard code the first row. Just press 6 is fine. But usually I will create a name for it. So that's the first row for the banks. Let's just call it banks. And it's just the row of, like, I just put it here. This one. So the rows should be 6. So let's say if I add the first row of banks, then it should be, I should return 6. Then I will have 6, 7, 8. So that when I change the table, it becomes 7 and it won't affect my formula, right? But let me just get it back by pressing Ctrl Z. So it's 6, 7, right? So again, I want to get rid of these 210, Shift N, press X to cut that. If table 4, which is this one, at the choose row, what? Just make it just this cell. If it's equal to a dash sign, then I will return a dash sign. Otherwise, Alt Enter, press Ctrl V, or just copy the equal sign. Too bad. I will return the formula of this pattern. Okay, then Alt Enter, close the bracket. And then for the text column, I can simply combine this, right? It's just equal to this column and, oops, the column and the row. So we'll have this. Oh, but you know what? I have a double dash here, which I don't really want. So what I can do is copy the first part, which is this one. If the choose row isn't a single dash, Alt Enter, then I'll use a formula to join the column and row. Alt Enter, close bracket. Oops. Yeah, close the bracket. Then I'll have this one. So now I can create a list here. Let's just call it example list. It doesn't matter how you call it, because I have to return the text. So I can't just use F6. I have to apply indirect, right? Sorry about that. So that I will get the list from here. I'm just stacking these two columns together, right? Then when I go to the example list, I can simply use just filter. So we just filter the column of text, and I will include only the column that is not equal to dash. If it is not equal to dash, then you will see the bank's name, right? Let me just close that. Basically, this example list is just the text column, excluding the dash. So what I can do in Office 336 is I can use the unique formula to wrap around this one. Then I will get BMO HSBC rate. You can change the formula here, but you can't change the formula for the second cell or third cell because it's grayed out, right? That's the spelled out feature in Office 336 for the array, dynamic array. Just highlight these two cells and Control Shift F3 and then take the top row so that I can name this cell with example list. Right now, we are ready to use that example list in our Dropbox. Let me just pick this Dropbox. Okay, and then call DL to bring up a data validation and allow list. And then for the source, I press F3 and then I use the example list. Now I can select, oh, too bad. Oh, you know what? If I want to refer to the example list, I have to add a pound key afterwards. And for alert, let me just don't show any alert, okay? So now when I click the Dropbox, I can select like BMO, HSBC, and TD Bank, something like that. So hopefully it helps. Thank you. Bye-bye.